In first unit of this embedded systems, we understood what is ARM processor, Cortex M3 architecture, general purpose registers, different general purpose register, and few dedicated registers for link register, stack pointer, and program counter. Then followed by we understood how the operation mode takes place in Cortex M3. That is, Cortex M3 can work with two instruction set. One is thumb instruction set, another one is Cortex instruction set, or ARM instruction or ARM mode we call it as. Then few other points with respect to uh, Cortex M3 processor was handler. One is thread handler and another one is system handler. Thread handler was something like writing a program, then the hardware should execute that particular program written by a user. That's what we also call it as a user mode and handler mode. Whereas in case of handler mode, the entire handling of an device is by the system itself. That case, which is nothing but, say for example, if anything goes with the device, say for example, if there is a non-maskable interrupt occurs, so probably the user programming should stop the execution, and there occurs a stack pointer importance. It store the address, it push the address of current execution line, then it move to handler mode, and in the handler mode there are set of nested vector interrupt controller, NVIC we call them as. It will pick the particular address and then it will see to that what type of program has to be executed. So in the same way, it start executing the program that is present in the okay. It start executing the program that is present in the NVIC address location. So nested vector interrupt address locations just holds the address of a corresponding exception, we call them as. What do you mean by exception handling? In the one of the class I told you the main important task of this kind of processor is exception handling, which means that user might have written a programming, probably there occurs a divide by 0. So whenever a number with divide by 0 is not at all a executable instruction, right? Such point of time it may fall into the infinite loop and device automatically, if there occurs a fault, then how I should rectify those types of problems. And these are the few instructions will be pre-written to handle such situations. We call them as a exception handling. Okay. The other way I given a good example of ATM. I go to ATM and I insert the card. Then later on point, I also assume that I also um, enter the ATM pin code. Then probably I stop there itself and I take back my card. I'll come back. Now, what should the system do? The program is not completely executed. When we call it as program, the program execution is complete if and only if I completely draw money, or I should go for I should go for taking the mini statement. If none of these things happen, then it is a in the middle itself I stop my process, then what machine should do in such cases? Definitely, machine should take care of such kind of interrupts. It's an interrupt we call that, or it's a exception cases. Thinking that what wrong could have happened, so then I should have a list of things what to do if something goes wrong, right? So this is what we call it as a handling exceptions. So that's what in ARM processor or in Cortex M3 we have a two types of handling mode. One is user mode and another one is exception handling. Handling exceptions are nothing but kind of, it may be handling the fault, it may be handling the non-maskable interrupts. These are the, it may be a hard fault. These are the different exception handlers. For this to handle this, there must be a pre-written code, right? So where the code will be present. So the processor can execute the pre-written program if processor get to know its address, right? Unless a processor get to know about the address, it will not going to execute. Then where these address are going to be stored? These address are stored in a space called vector interrupt controller, NVIC ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. So NVIC stores all the addresses of these exception to be handled. So whenever the execution exception takes place, the program counter pick the address from the NVIC. Once it get to know about the start address, then automatically it starts execution. So this was what we learnt in our unit 1. In unit 2, we started with understanding the different types of instruction set. The instruction set that works on data processing, the instructions which are related to arithmetic logic unit, and the inbuilt barrel shifter logic of ARM processor, and with different types of instructions which affects the flag registers. All these are different types of uh, different kinds of different levels of instructions that we have seen in ARM Cortex M3 instruction set. And now coming to the third unit, here onwards, uh, I cannot show like practical things. This is all based on conceptual theory. Uh, I'll try to convince as much as possible by taking some analogies so that you can understand the concepts very easily. Today, probably I may not able to engage a complete 1 hour, but sure, we'll take one simple concept and I try to explain that particular concept because I have some urgent work like I need to go. So probably I may not able to handle 1 hour completely. But we'll start with the first chapter, the third chapter, and then one simple and very small topic. Then we'll wind off. Okay, I'll start sharing my screen. Okay, the unit 3 is on embedded system components. Name of this chapter. From here onwards, the textbook changes. You need to refer for the next textbook, that is Introduction to Embedded System by Shibu KV. I think I posted this textbook in PDF of this copy in your Google Classroom. I'll check it out once again. If not, I will repost. Okay. And this chapter, the chapter 3 from your syllabus copy, is the first chapter from this particular textbook. Okay. Shibu KB. Next. These are the different topics that we will try to discuss in this particular chapter. That is, what do you mean by embedded systems and general computing systems? Different classifications of embedded systems, major application and purpose of embedded systems, elements of embedded systems, differences between CISC architecture and RISC architecture. Though you already got to know the some of the points with respect to CISC and RISC, Harvard and Princeton architectures, big Indian and little Indian formats that I think even you know about these points also. So probably this chapter is not that difficult to understand, and as well as when it comes to scoring, yes, it's of course one of the very important for you guys uh, to score in a very good way. Thing is, you understand that concept. Make sure that you use the same wordings in your while you giving the answer, right? That's actually matters. And memory, like what is the difference between ROM and RAM in terms of architecture of ROM memory and RAM memory. Then followed by sensors, actuators, optocoupler and fiber communication interfaces. Okay, these are the different topics that we will see in this chapter. And today we will discuss the first topic, very simple topic. What is embedded systems and what is general computing systems? Okay. Now, embedded versus general computing system. General purpose computing system is a system which is a combination of generic hardware and general purpose operating system for executing a variety of applications. Whereas embedded system is a combination of special purpose hardware and embedded OS for executing a specific set of applications. This is very important here. In case of general purpose computing system, the application is variety of application. But in case of embedded system applications, it is a specific set of applications that what we say. Now coming to the clear explanation of general purpose computing system, a very simple and straightforward approach is take your computers, your general PC, desktop or your laptops. These are the best example for general purpose computing system because your processor is capable to handle your MATLAB, Xilinx software. Your desktop is capable of handling the Cadence software also. Or if you wish to install all three, yes, definitely. No issues at all. Definitely it works. So that's what we call it as a variety of applications. The application one is maybe MATLAB, the application might be your Xilinx, or the application might be your Cadence software, the application may be your Keel. Look at this. How many different applications that your system is trying to run, and all these are general purpose, not application specific. What do you mean by general purpose and application specific? When I say that specific purpose, what do you mean by specific purpose? Microwave oven is a application specific hardware. Washing machine is a application specific hardware. Controlling the uh, braking control, like anti-lock braking system of your vehicle. So this is application specific. A single hardware to control ABS. I'm using a one hardware to control only to observe or to control only one application, that is ABS. I will be using another hardware to control or to execute the function of airbag. Another hardware. Okay. Oh, this is what we call them as a application specific purpose. The system, then such a system we call we call them as a embedded systems. And there, in general purpose operating general purpose generic hardware, to give a to give an example, your AMD processor, Intel processor are all generic hardwares. It has general purpose operating system. What do you mean by general purpose operating system? So Windows OS is a general purpose OS, and next is Macintosh OS. Mac OS is also a general purpose OS. Then another one is Linux. Ubuntu is also a general purpose operating system. All these are general purpose OS. But whereas we need application specific embedded system in case of embedded OS, because it is performing a general purpose a specific purpose hardware for a specific application. I need a specific OS, and to call them as we call it as RTX, real time embedded system or real time operating system. To name some few real time specific operating system, we have one of the OS called Wind River. Wind River is a operating system which has been used as a embedded OS to execute some specific task, right? So this is the main difference. Now, taking the uh, going into after understanding which are the general purpose hardware and which are the embedded system hardware, like we'll see few more a few more differences between these two, so that you'll understand much better way here. Yes, obviously general purpose computing system. So why we call them as a computing system? Because the purpose of computer itself is a computing. The usage of the usage of computer is for the computing purpose. Maybe when I say that computing, it may be data analysis also. See, I will be using your laptop to compute or to fetch the different images from the Google server. Now what it does, it is nothing but it fetch ಎಲ್ಲೋ ಬೇರೆ ಕಡೆ ಇರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಡೇಟಾಬೇಸ್ ಇಂದ ಇಮೇಜ್ ನ ತೆಗೆದು ನಿಮಗೆ ಕೊಡ್ತಾ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ವಾಟ್ ಡಸ್ ಇಟ್ ಮೀನ್? ಇಟ್ಸ್ ನಥಿಂಗ್ ಬಟ್ ಅ ಡೇಟಾ ಕಂಪ್ಯೂಟಿಂಗ್, right? So this any system you take, when a system consisting of CPU, I simply call them as a computing systems. That's why it is called as the computer. And similarly, Raspberry Pi is also one computing system. Your Arduino board is also a one computing system. 8051 is also computing system, but computation efficiency matters. That's it. That was 8-bit computing machine. Now your desktop may be a 32-bit computing machine or 64-bit computing machine. And check your calculators. Calculator is also a specific processor. Use it for specific application, right? So hence, coming to this important point, it must consisting of general purpose operating system. Which one? Any general purpose hardware you take. But when you consider an embedded system, it may contain a OS or it may not contain the OS. The best example is your calculator. Your calculator no need of any OS, but definitely there will be a computing hardware. right? And and in the lab, when you started working on LPC 2148, there also you were not having a operating system, right? See, you were you were working on one PC, and then the PC was connected to another hardware. That hardware was a standalone hardware. LPC 2148 hardware was standalone hardware. It was not consisting of any operating system. ನಾವೇನಕ್ಕೆ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಮೆಷಿನಿಗೆ ಕನೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ವಿ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಟು ಯೂಸ್ ದ ಮಾನಿಟರ್, ದಟ್ಸ್ ಇಟ್. ನಿಮಗೆ ಮಾನಿಟರ್ ಬೇಕಾಗಿತ್ತು, ಅದಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರಿ. ವೇರ್ ದ ಡೇಟಾ ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ಫರ್ ವಾಸ್ taking place between the Intel machine and ARM processor machine, but the execution was happening inside the ARM processor itself. So hence, whenever you take a embedded system, it may consisting of operating system or it may not consisting the operating system. Another example which does not consisting operating system, microwave oven does not contain any operating system, but definitely there will be a one microcontroller or yeah, obviously a controller will be present. Similarly, washing machine also does not contain operating system. You cannot like open and operating system tara use ಮಾಡ್ತಾರಲ್ಲ. But when it go to CT machines, CT scan, computer tomographic scan center, MRI scan centers, all these machines definitely consisting of some operating systems there, because I once again those hardwares will be connected to your monitors, and that supposed to be work with some operating systems to for some computations, higher end computations. And another one, the operating system will be present in your vehicles, like to perform the execution of ABS or airbag unit. All these all these systems must contain the operating systems. Okay, next. The next important point, applications are alterable, which means programmable by the user. It is possible for the end user to reinstall the operating system and also to add or remove applications. What did you understand? It's as usual, you always have an option. When you start working on the desktop, you can install the operating system or you can remove the operating system any times, any number of times. Is it possible or not? Certainly it is possible. I can remove OS, I can change the OS. Once again, I can install the OS. I can remove a older version of Microsoft Word and I can install the new version of Microsoft Word. That was possible in a general purpose computing systems. But whereas in case of embedded system, it is firmware. It is already pre-programmed. It is not. It cannot be altered. Once the airbag execution unit is executed, if it is feeded, it is feeded. That's it. I cannot say that no, 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 no. I wish to remove that software and I want to fit with some other user applications. You cannot say that I will remove that ABS program and I'll install the Microsoft Word there, right? It is not possible like that. Or even if you want to go for any specific application itself, so you need to remove that hardware, and then once you remove that hardware, it's gone. ಮುಗೀತದು ಕೆಲಸ ಅಲ್ಲಿಗೆ ಸ್ಟಾಪ್. Whereas in case of, that's why it is named as a general purpose, for all purpose. I can remove as many as times of kill software from your system. I can reinstall. I can remove cadence as many as times of as many as times I can still install later point of time. So this is the flexibility that I have in my general purpose operating system and general purpose computing system. But this flexibility is not present in the embedded systems. It's already a pre-programmed. So see, don't think that sir now ninne what is that we have written a code for DC motor and tomorrow we wrote for stepper motor in the lab. So that was lab purpose, that's it, because we are giving it for academic purpose. But when it comes to real time execution, if you want to execute some particular task again and again, then That particular program, that particular hardware should be pre-programmed. That's it. If I say that the machine is for running the washing machine, and then the embedded system must do the work of washing machine itself. I cannot take it on the microwave oven to perform that particular task. I cannot reprogrammable it, right? So once it is fixed inside the machine, it is fixed, right? It's firmware. So that's the difference. That's the second important difference between the general purpose computing system and embedded systems. Now, third important point here is performance is a key deciding factor in selection of the system. What do you mean by this? Yes, always you think of better performance, which means that processor should execute your instruction as fast as possible. That is what you talk about. The Intel Core i3 processor, we call them as a 2.5 gigahertz of frequency, which means it is 1 by f times of that will be going to give me the t value. That's what the time it is going to take to execute a single instruction, right? So it is always faster the better, right? So general purpose processor will be consisting of varieties of application on a single system. A general purpose OS will be handling a different varieties of applications, not a specific application, so different varieties of applications. So hence we expect our system or mobile phones to be faster. Now earlier we used to call that mobile phones also an embedded systems. Now more often my mobile systems is embedded system, but it has been used like a general purpose. So that's how the things are getting changed. Then in case of application specific requirement like performance ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, power requirement ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, memory usage, these are the key deciding factors. Because when I install any specific hardware, specific application, specific hardware, may it be washing machine, may it be ABS controlling, may it be airbag controlling, may it be one black box that is present in your aircraft, aeroplane. All these matters on the requirements, whether it should be use the less memory or whether that particular programming requires more memory. We always think of that memory unnecessary. We don't go for taking the more memory, because the code is fixed. If code is fixed, then obviously memory requirement will be a very small size. But in case of general purpose, the codes are not fixed. Today I will run MATLAB, tomorrow I will run Keel. Sometimes I'll try to use both of them simultaneously. So we don't know what type of how much memory requirement is required. It depends. It may varies. But here, every time I am sure that I will be running the washing machine program. So I know that these many memory is sufficient to store that particular instructions. Then memory is fixed, right? So these are the key deciding factors in case of application specific requirements. But performance is always key deciding factor in case of general purpose computing. Next, another very important point here in case of general purpose computing system is these are very less tailored towards reducing operating power requirements and highly tailored to take advantage of power saving modes supported by the hardware and operating system. See, whenever we design any hardware, we are much concerned with the power that it takes. I always will be very happy if my mobile phone give a more if I charge my mobile phone, if it giving me a efficient power, maybe one day or 1.5 day, it is always appreciated in spite of using internet and in spite of watching other videos, in spite of using the Google Meet. If my mobile battery is giving a better performance, it is nothing but it is consuming less power. So but in case of general purpose, it's always less tailored, it is not that concentrated towards general purpose hardware. But whereas in case of application specific, power certainly matters. If if my washing machine starts consuming more energy, then there will be a rise in the current bill, then people will not appreciate. Similarly, you might have observed nowadays AC will come with a 5-star rating, power rating. What does it mean, 5 star? It always consumes the less power, because there is inherently the hardware should be supported with consuming a less power. Whenever the hardware don't have any job, it should go for a sleep mode. We call it as a sleep mode, where my processor will not consuming more power. That's what your mobile device will also do. If you are not using it, automatically the screen will going to lock and processor will start taking the rest, because anyways the processor will not having any job, it will be taking some rest. That time it it takes less power. And we also have a manual option in mobile phones to go for power save mode. What happens when you click on power save mode? Automatically the brightness reduces, because certainly processor will be taking more power to give that particular brightness in your mobile phones. Certainly it reduces. In few of the cases, automatically it turns off the mobile data, wi-fi, bluetooth, if they are turned on. If they are turned on, so this is how processor try to manage the powers. And we have that power saving modes in a embedded system, and this option is not present in my general purpose computing system. Of course, now we have manually in your laptops, you can also reduce that uh, what is that brightness. And if you put your laptop to flight mode, it's also possible to put. But one what happens is uh, the kind of flexibility that you have in embedded systems, that kind of flexibility is not present in my general purpose computing systems. The another very important point here to be noticed is requirement of a system response, or response of a requirement are not time critical, and these are time critical and time deterministic. Okay, these this point should be here. Execution of behavior, this particular point, I'll just round it off. Execution behavior is time deterministic for certain type of embedded systems like hard time real systems. It should be appear here. I'm sorry. I'll change this and I will upload. So general purpose hardwares or computing systems are not time critical, are not time deterministic, because the OSs are not time critical. Why? Yes, when I open MATLAB, it's not that like it immediately opens the MATLAB. It take its own time. When you turn on your machines to start working on Cadence, it's not immediately it opens and it start executing very at the faster rate. It has its own time. It will take, sometimes it will execute at 5 seconds, sometimes it may take 6 seconds, sometimes even it takes like a 1 minute or 2 minutes to execution. And you might have already experienced these types of problems, and it is admirable, it is considerable delay, because there is no some hard facts that has to be happen. But this certain kind of delay is not well appreciated in my embedded systems design. Say for taking the say, I told you in the regular class many a times, the execution of airbag must be a time critical execution, must be a time deterministic. I cannot wait a single second, single millisecond soon after the accident takes place. It has to understand the impact of accident. Decision should be taken well within the milliseconds of time to open the airbag. It must do such kind of it has to it has to take the decision in very small time. See here, in case of general purpose, it is we enforce the application to open, and it is taking more delay. And in case of embedded system, we made it automate. Like whenever the accident takes place, automatically the embedded systems or a processor should take the decision stating that yes, whether to open the airbag or not to open. Because there are two incidents. The accident may be at the slowly, the person may hit to a standing pole, or the crash may be at a higher rate. Say for example, my vehicle is at the rate of 80 or 100 kilometer per hour speed, then there occurs a crash takes place, then immediately the processor should understand the impact of a crash. It has to open the airbag, so within no time almost. If it get delayed, then system fails, right? So these kinds of thing we call them as a the the embedded system, like a mission critical system. And the same thing is true if you go for launching the satellites. Exactly at the certain point, it has to unveil the camera, it has to take the photographs while before landing, it has to take that all the requirements, all these play a very highly crucial work. And hence the time, the response time requirement is highly critical. And these are called as time deterministic. Embedded system behavior is a time deterministics. So these are the few important points with respect to general purpose computing systems and embedded systems. Okay, so in the next class, we'll discuss about the classification of embedded systems. This may require me around 1.5 hour or 2 hours of time. Many points are there, then we go for applications as such. So I hope you are getting the points. Understand? Okay. uh, ಇವತ್ತಿಗಿಷ್ಟು ಸಾಕು. I'll just continue my session in next working day. That's my class is on Wednesday. Okay, Wednesday at what time shall we meet? ಎಷ್ಟು ಗಂಟೆಗಿದೆ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ವೆಡ್ನೆಸ್ಡೇ? It should not make any confusion for this week. At what time? Anybody is having a timetable with you? Shall Okay, we'll see once again the timetable, and then let me know you in the group. Okay, fine. Thank you. Then we'll meet on Wednesday. Oh, 12 to 1, huh? Okay. Okay, we'll meet at 12 to 1. No issues. Thank you. We'll meet at 12 to 1. I hope you are understanding the points with respect to this embedded system. If not, let me know. Okay, I'll try to convince in another way. I'll just see what type of analogy we should take. Okay, then take care. Bye.